Good evening, y'all. We are live on Yin Yang the podcast. This is the first time that we will be broadcasting also over to TikTok. So if you see me looking up a little bit in this direction, it's because we're also live on TikTok tonight. So with that being said, please, if you cannot find us on any platform, reach out. We should be live. We are live now on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and TikTok, along with the Riverside Studio. Tonight's topic, of course, is going to be, do we trust the American government? But of course, before we can start this podcast, we have to do our famous disclosure. So we're going to go ahead and play that now for you.
Yin Yang the podcast does not own rights to any background music or noise you may hear. This podcast is completely opinion-based and may include adult content, adult language, and verbiage not suitable for any underage viewers. Information found in this podcast may not contain exact accuracy as it is opinion-based. Please listen at your own risk.
All right. And for all of our TikTok viewers, I know that you couldn't hear the disclosure. More or less, we were telling you that our podcast is completely opinion-based. Therefore, it is not to be taken as factual or that we've done any real research into this. Again, it's completely opinion-based. So we encourage you to respond and talk with us. However, we're not liable for any opinions you form based off of this podcast. So with that being said, I would like to start this podcast by saying I don't know one person that trusts the American government. Do you trust the American government, Sheena?
No, I don't trust the American government. Not one bit. To be honest, I think it's all like a conspiracy theory scam. They're just scamming us.
I agree, wholeheartedly. But I want to go into a few details because there are people out there that are like, oh, the government's for us and et cetera, et cetera. Where are they for us? The only time I slightly trust them is during tax season, and that's only if I get the right amount back on my taxes.
I'm about to say, I don't even trust them during tax season because I think.
And sorry for those of you. Oh, Sheena, you need to unmute yourself for TikTok. Thank you very much, Justin.
Okay. Thanks. I'm not sure.
So, and I know this is our first time ever going on TikTok. Neither one of us have ever been live on TikTok. So we have no idea what we're doing with it, but thank you very much for coming in and letting us know.
Thanks,
with our podcast, Yin Yang the podcast. So, all right, as we move forward, it seems like Sheena's mic may be off mute now. So that's great. However, back to what we're talking about. The American government. They definitely, I want to know what I can trust from them. I just recently learned, because I have a niece who's in high school, that they are removing parts of history from the history books. So they are removing the Civil War. They are removing the slavery that happened in America. I'm not sure exactly what else they're removing, but, when history isn't taught, it repeats itself. So that's a really scary thing to know, that we're just not doing this anymore, So with that being said, do we trust them more or less? So now we're just not going to give information to people? So, okay, we're not going to talk about the Civil War. Never happened. Slavery never happened. We just, that's urban legends that people just talk about. So I don't understand what it is exactly that we're doing. But as I started to dig down this rabbit hole this week, and I don't know how much digging you did, Sheena, but I already had my own personal beefs with the American government, just from living life as an adult, like it doesn't matter, it doesn't matter what you make. You barely make ends meet. And the more money you make, the more they take.
That's true.
So it's like to survive out here, you have to have like a 2-income household. Exactly. One of the biggest things about that is, all right, so for instance, there's 2 people in my household, and on 2 incomes, we still have to pay all of our bills, hopefully put a little money aside, save for retirement. By the time we're done doing that, we get like $30 a week that we can save towards a vacation. So yeah, times 52, that's great, but that means 1 vacation a year, 1 time to just go out and relax. What kind of life is that? And that's just with jobs. That's just the beginning of the problem with the American structure. Not to mention student loans and the way our medical runs. Like, it is absolutely atrocious the way our medical system is set up when other countries have free medical. And anybody can say what they want, but one of my closest friends, I'm going to give her a shout out right now, Noah. She's one of my best friends. She's been one of my best friends for years. She is one of the closest people to me. And she always yells at me because I never bring her up on the podcast. But she is from Spain, and she comes from a place where medical is free. And then she comes to America, and she's like, "Oh, all these bills stack up." And I was like, "Yeah, they do. Sure do. And if you're anything like me, you can't help going to the doctor." It's complete disclosure. I'm currently fighting COVID. I feel like absolute poop. And I'm struggling to even get through this, but it was important for me to be here because that's another thing they lied to us about, and people can say what they want, what's your opinion of COVID, Sheena?
Yeah, do you really want to know? My opinion.
Oh, girl, I do.
I think it was, let's be honest. This is just our opinions, but my opinion on COVID, I think it was just orchestrated, thrown in on us because they're trying to control the population. And their hope was that certain amount of people would get it and die off. Probably, I think they were gearing towards the older population, because they think they probably couldn't fight it off that well, but it kind of spread more than they thought it was going to spread, and it started affecting more people like they didn't think it was going to affect, and they kind of got out of hand. But I think they try to do it because they were saying it's too many people, because they try to control the population in certain areas, but it just spread out of control. That's my thought on COVID.
Right.
What's your thought?
Right. And that's one of the biggest things. Like, when it comes to COVID, number one, they created that vaccine in the shortest amount of time I've ever seen. I was one of those people who reacted to the vaccine. So with that being said, it was like, so I took the vaccine because I have a history of cancer. So my doctor was like, you need to get the vaccine. I got the vaccine. I reacted to it. They told me it wasn't a reaction to it. So I got the second part of the vaccine and I reacted to that again. And then every time I got COVID after that, this is my 3rd time now, I had the same exact reaction from when they did the shot. And I don't want to go into like a lot of details about my reactions but they had to do with my lymph nodes, and the swelling of them. And it was not fun. I was actually at Sheena's house for one of them, and had to go into the hospital and have like my lymph nodes drained. And it was a very long, exhausting experience. I actually slept for like 2 days. So
Yes.
it's one of those really hard situations where it's like, who do you trust? Because the government's like, get this vaccine, and you won't get sick. Number one, we don't even really know where COVID came from and why it was being stored somewhere to escape anyways. And with that being said, does that mean like what happens if polio escapes or one of those other things? And I understand there's vaccines for them, but what if you're like me and you react to the vaccines? How do we keep everybody safe? Do we just
COVID,
go
they
completely
had
virtual as a
COVID
society? Because
years ago. Yeah, I think COVID was created like years ago, and they just never did anything with it. And it was like experiment that went wrong, or experiment that got in the wrong hands and got put out into the population that probably never was supposed to be put out into the population. Somebody made a boo boo. They probably created it in a test tube.
a
It's
big
like,
one.
this is what I created, but nobody needs to know. And then, somebody was like, oh, you know what we can do with this? We can control the population. Let's put it out in this small area and then see how it affects. And then somebody got on an airplane and took it everywhere in the world. So, yeah, it got out of hand a little bit.
You know what it reminds me of? That I'm really bad with movie names, guys. So the Eddie Murphy movie where he can drink the stuff and become a skinny guy. You know what I'm talking about?
You talking about
Gosh, what's the name?
the Nutty Professor? Was it the Nutty Professor?
So is it the Nutty Professor? Or is that these are moments that I need to find my +1 because he's great with movies. But he drinks this stuff and it makes him become skinny, and then other people get access to this stuff. Then it changes everything. That's what I feel like COVID was like, one of those movies where they made this weird thing in a test tube and was like, oh, we'll never release this unless we decide to, ha 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 ha. Like a villain or something. And that's what, the villain released it, and then they had to cover it up, and they were like, oh no, somebody accidentally did this, and now everyone can get COVID. But what happens if they do that with polio or dinosaur eggs or whatever? It's not like they're going to tell us that happened. Welcome to all the people that are joining now on TikTok. We are currently live talking about if we trust the American government. So please, come on in, guys. Let me know if you have any questions. Let me know if you want to join in. We can bring anyone into our live without a problem. And let me know, do y'all trust the American government? It looks like we got about 5 people in the live right now. Let me know, do any of y'all trust the American government? And again, I'm not here to talk on behalf of the government. I'm not here to talk bad about the government. I'm here to tell the truth. And the first thing that we posted on Tuesday, me and Sheena posted a story about Tuskegee in 1932. And it's absolutely crazy to me that in 1932, they were they were injecting syphilis into individuals to do an experiment. And that's what I feel COVID was. I feel like COVID was an experiment for population control, like you said.
Yeah, experiment that
what do you do with that?
The government can do what they want to do. That's how they think. That's how I feel they think. Like, they can do what they want to do. Like, who's going to stop the government? Like, who's going to stop them from doing what they want to do? And I feel they let us know what they want us to know.
Oh, you don't know how to stop the government, Sheena?
We're going to go in there and blow it up independent style. You know how to blow up the White House? Let me not say that. Let me not say that on the.
Well, and that's the biggest thing.
We don't want to blow up the White House.
Yeah, okay? Yeah. Great. Now we're gonna have to mark this one as this is another one we're gonna have to mark as using foul language and speaking on things aloud. So we're sorry, YouTube. We'll
Okay,
mark
I'm
it
sorry. I don't
as
want to be missing. You know, the
explicit
other week we
content.
talked about aliens coming to get me. Now the government might come and get me. So we got to be on the lookout for the aliens, and then we got to be on the lookout for the government. Okay?
And the government.
Yeah. Don't come get me. Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't mean it.
All right, so we got about 45 people on our TikTok live right now. Do any of y'all trust the government? Talk to me. Let me know what you think. Share this with your friends. So what is the one thing that you think that the government has lied about or could have lied about that is unforgivable?
Everything. I don't think they tell the truth about nothing. I think they just tell us what we want to hear. Like being in a relationship with a narcissist, they just tell you what they want you to hear to try to control what you feel or how to feel or where they want you to be or how to be. They just telling us what they want us to hear. What they doing behind closed doors, we probably would never know. But I think they're lying about everything. I don't think we can honestly get the truth from the government. Like, to be honest, like I'm in one ear out the other. I don't trust politics. I don't do politics because I don't trust none of them. Like what they gonna do? Because they say one thing to get in the office, they do another. They lie to do this. They lie to get in the office. They lie to get money. They getting paid well. They getting. Do you know how much they get paid? Even the presidents or the officials after they get in office, they still get a check. They got money. They making money. They not worried about how they gonna get their next meal or if they daycare bill gonna get paid or their car payment's gonna get paid or none of that. So they just around there telling us what we want to hear because they're gonna do about what they want to do. It's like the deficit. Like we're in like what, $1 billion trillion. I lost count how much debt that we're in for spending that they trying to say that, oh, we're spending it for this, that, and the third. We're trying to do this, that, and the third. And like, okay, but you're not helping us. They'd rather help the people that's not in America first and more than they want to help the people that are in America. So that's
right.
my take.
Well, and that's one of the biggest things. Like, it looks like we're flexing between like 75 and 150 people on the TikTok. So I just want to say to all of you, if there's something that you got going on or that you want to say, please feel free to send a request to join. I'll bring anybody in that wants to come in. And you can also chat in the box if you want me to say anything for you. And we definitely appreciate any followings that we have on this. This is our first time going live on TikTok. So, as far as the government for me, it looks like we have a guest request. I'm going to go ahead and accept it. Let's see what this person has to say.
Yes, come in, join the conversation. We love guests.
So for those of you not in our TikTok live, you won't be able to see this guest or speak to this guest. It looks like they're having a hard time connecting. Are you there?
I seen them pop in. Maybe they looks like their mic is off. It looks like their mic is on mute. They said they accidentally clicked it.
Oh, that's okay. There we go. Not a problem at all. But feel free if you want to jump in. We're just talking about the American government. So with that being said, guys, we're going to move on a little bit further. So I asked you what the one thing you think is unforgivable. Let me explain what I think is unforgivable from the government. Multiple things. I mean, for those of you who have done your research, I applaud you. For those of you who haven't, red zones. Red zones are a big thing. If you don't know about red zones, I'm not going to sit here and teach you all about them tonight, but more or less it was the government's way to put African Americans into situations. They created these ghettos with red zones. And they put them in situations where they couldn't get housing and they couldn't get better houses and they couldn't live in certain areas to try to force them to still stay segregated. So, red zones was something I think is unforgivable. The Tuskegee experiment from 1932, completely unforgivable. 9/11, people can say what they want. The government knew that was happening, and I'm not going to argue with anyone about that either. It was a really hard time for our country. And the sucky part about the things that I'm saying is I still stand strong behind America. I would fight for this country because I live here and my family lives here, but I wouldn't fight for the government. I would fight for all the individuals like you and I that are trying to get by and pay our bills and do whatever it takes to move on through life. The American government has lied to us a million times, but the funny thing to me is we can't really say they're lies because the American government gives you just enough of the truth to where you can't say, oh, you're lying. They're just withholding information.
And you know what? When we get a little antsy and we get a little tired of them, what they do? They throw a little stimuli check at us and then we shut up.
Well, and that's ultimately why, in my opinion, they do the tax refunds like they do every year,
Right.
because we fuss all, the entire time. And then it comes up to that. And so if you want to come into the live moving forward, I need you to type that you want to come into the live because I accepted the last person. It was an accident. So please put in the chat if you're trying to request to come into the live to say something, and I will add you to the live. If not, then I'm just going to ignore those for now. But with that being said, with the American government, like the best example I can give is, does everybody remember when everything was going on during the last election and people weren't really sure who they should vote for or what was going on with this, what was going on with that. And then all of a sudden there were all these shootings and they directed all of our attention with main media over to what was going on there and not to what was going on with Trump and Biden in the election polls and the possible schemes and stuff like that.
Do it.
They always do it. Every time I see something being pushed on like media, like for instance, right now, everybody is pushing this whole Jada Pinkett Will Smith thing. Any, media thing you go to is talking about Will and Jada. Yeah. Well, dang, man, what happened to Trump charges?
It's a distraction. So you know what? You usually play the devil advocate. Let me play the devil advocate this week. Mm-hmm. So do you think this question? I'm gonna ask you a question. Do you think like Hollywood and like the movie entertainment industry is in cahoots with the government?
Absolutely.
What they do? Because of the whole thing you just said, like, oh, let's distract them with the Will and Jada, or let's do something to distract them. Let's get with the Hollywood and the entertainment and let them guys do something so all their attention is off of what the government is doing.
Oh, absolutely. I think that they're in cahoots. There's no way they can be in cahoots. And here, let me give you the perfect example. Trump. And just so we're all clear, I live in the Trump pens, meaning I am surrounded by nothing but like Trump voters. And that's okay. And honestly, as a businessman, I think Trump is one of the smartest men I've ever met. And my significant other would completely agree. So as a president, I think he was arrogant, cocky, and treats women like crap. So he did a lot for the country. I give him that. I do give him that. However, he's a bully. And the last thing America needs is another bully. But with the Trump Pence and all that right here, let me make it very clear that it made no sense for Kanye West to become Trump's best friend. So we got this man over here in mainstream media that was going psycho and crazy and was off his meds and lost his wife and his kids and everything. And then this billionaire Trump who talks trash about people of color, those his words, not mine, that talk trash about women, that talk trash about everything. And then him and
Right.
Kanye are like besties and hanging out all the time and
That was so
making
weird.
moves together.
It was so
And it was
weird.
like Trump, if you were going to try to win some votes, you should have chose somebody cooler like Snoop. I mean, I know that he's half Martha's, but you should have got somebody that we actually were going to pay attention to.
Martha was like,
Um,
"No, you're not getting Snoop. Snoop mine."
right, Snoop belongs to me. I don't blame her. I don't blame her. But
Right?
and that's the funny part to me, right? Because that's, of course, the two go hand in hand. Think about it. Have you ever heard of the 27 Club?
No, what's that?
Oh, girl, that's another hole for another night for us to dig
You know the
into. However,
podcast
more or
name?
less, there's like, right, yeah. So there's like a large amount of rock and roll stars that died at the age of 27.
Interesting.
And there's all these things. It's called the 27 Club. And a lot of rock stars, you'll hear them say, they'll even reference it in songs. I've heard it referenced in songs like, I don't want to join the 27 Club or things like that. Because, some people would be like, oh, they sold their soul to the devil. Well, if you believe in the ability to do
Where
those
is
kinds of
that?
things,
Like,
then great.
people talk about that in the entertainment industry. Like, a lot of entertainers,
But
a lot of
think
people get
about
into
it.
the entertainment or get up
Illuminati,
there.
things like that.
Yeah.
But what if selling your soul to the devil is just selling your soul to the government?
The government is the devil.
Exactly. So that would make a lot of sense. And the government also has ways to make sure that if you start to run your mouth too much, you disappear. The 27 Club.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean,
Or
there's
you
all kinds of
mysteriously
conspiracies
have
linked
an
around us.
accident, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yep. I mean, think about it. Think
Okay,
about
I
all
don't
the
know.
people that started to speak up and disappeared. Ooh,
Oh, like that guy
the
who
guy.
came up a way to run cars off water or something. What was that?
I was just
And
about to talk about that.
and then he's like,
And then
boom.
remember, Biden got up there and was like, he was all for the electric car. And I was like, no, he wasn't. He built a car that ran on water. Why would he be for the electric car?
Electric car. Or
Like,
about that guy. What's the other guy this year? Was it a Cash App guy? At the CEO of the Cash App or something. He mysteriously, or was something going on when they wanted to bring the government wanted to bring their own Cash App and have everything monitored, and then
yep.
something
And then
was in
what?
that story.
And then wasn't it Epstein? Was it Epstein that was found dead in his
Right.
cell?
Anybody who knows
After he was going to
who in the
release
comments
everybody's
was-
names
right.
about who went out to the island and stuff like that. Like, so he's about to release all these government upper official names, and then all of a sudden he dies. Like,
Mhm.
it never makes sense. Dr. Sebi, who had the cure for cancer and diabetes and all these
Girl,
different
let me see.
diseases, and then they killed him off.
Right. I got a question for you. So, what do you really think the CIA does? Do you think they just going around like, oh, people who need to shut up, go take care of them. They need to shut up. You need to go ahead on.
This is going to sound really funny, but I have to tell you something because you asked that. So, me and my best friend, Inoa, I'm going to tell you this. And okay, so me and my best friend, Inoa, used to work with this guy. And he was a habitual liar. And if you're out there, I still love you. And I'm sorry that I'm telling this story about you. I won't say your name. But he was a habitual liar. He would lie about so much things. But one day he came into work late. And he told me and I know it that the CIA showed up at his house the night before to repossess it.
Repossess his house?
And I was like, I don't think the CIA repossesses houses. And he was renting it. So I don't know why he thought that they could repossess a rented house.
No.
In my opinion was he just got evicted, but that's not my business. But he definitely told us it was the CIA. But then every bone in my body wanted to believe it was like Men in Black or something like that was a funnier conspiracy.
Like a secret agency, like a secret Men in Black agency around there that's like hush hush.
I don't think there's a Men in Black agency.
It.
I don't think the government's smart enough to know exactly what's going on with aliens. No offense to the U.S., but if anyone knows what's going on with aliens, it's China.
Yeah, those some smart people over there.
You was about to say, you already got us on explicit content for YouTube today. You might as well use any language you want.
Oh, okay. I was about to say there's some smart motherfuckers over there, but I was trying to be professional, but potty mouth.
Well,
But
and that's,
yeah, so
how do you know? Like, okay, so I'm gonna give you a specific example, and I want to know what you think about it. Okay, so let me pull up. I had it pulled up on my Facebook really quick. So, I'm gonna go back to it. Now, one of the things that I was reading on these articles is, the government will give us a little bit of the truth. Like, hey, 9/11, an airplane crashed into the towers. Okay, people saw the airplane. It was recorded.
People are not stupid, so they got to give us a little something.
Right. So, they gave us a little bit of information, but how is it the Simpsons predicted it?
See, I be seeing those like videos and memes and stuff around social media. I'd be like, dang, that's a little coinkydink. A little coinkydink, a little too close.
Did you see what the Simpsons episode for 2024 is? Like the one they made in 1998?
No.
So in 1998, the Simpsons came out with an episode that was in the future. And Lisa is the president. And she was taking over the term from Biden. How did they know Biden was going to be the president from 2020 to 2024? How did they know that back in 1998? And how do I sign up? I want to be a future president.
See, and that's why I be like, I ain't gonna say, like, I used to vote, but I don't really vote no more because of things like that. Because, like, how do I know my vote really matters? Like, am I wasting my time going down here to vote? Because at the end of the day, you're gonna do what you want to do. And they haven't really said or proved themselves that our votes really matter. Do you think our votes really matter? I don't think our votes really matter. I think they just do it all, this big cahoots-a-doots during voting the election year, so they can get their campaign money and everything. But at the end of the day, they're gonna make who they want a president or who they want in the office. I seriously think that our votes really don't matter. They're gonna do what they want to do.
So, full disclosure, and I have no problem telling everyone this, I got myself into some trouble in 2004. And when I got myself into that trouble in 2004, it stopped me from being able to vote for 20 years. So next year will be the first year I am officially allowed to vote. So I am going to vote. I don't think that it makes a difference with the president. I don't think it makes a difference with the president, in my complete honest opinion. I don't think that any of those votes matter when it comes to the president. I think that they pick the president long before we start voting. But I think it matters for like local and state stuff. And that's especially for the area I live. And it's very important that, the land out here not get completely overrun by tourists and city stuff. So I have a lot of friends, like I know people out here with farms and stuff like that. And it's really important to me that they be able to utilize their farm for productivity and to make sure that they can do what they need to do to survive and take care of their family. And they're trying to change some laws here to make it so where you can't farm on your own land. And that doesn't make any sense. Right. And so, I'm going to vote on local things and probably some state things to get the right people in office to make sure things like that don't happen. But I don't really know how I feel about voting for the president. Like I said, I feel like it's already picked. I don't vote for the president no more
because I think the last time I voted I did vote for Obama. I remember voting for Obama, and I remember voting when Clinton was in there, and we did this little BS shit in school, and I voted for Clinton. Clinton was, I'm about to call him. I said Clinton was the dude. I thought he was a cool dude back in the day. But you know what? I was like in school then, so I really didn't know no better about politics. I think the last person I did vote for Obama his first term, but that was like the last time I voted for the president election. But I do think like on the state level, I get what you're saying, that they have more control, but I think, money do talk, bullshit walk. So I think, like, if the person has enough money to push the votes, it could change other ways, not fully based on what the people want.
Oh, 100% agree. 100% agree. And I mean, it changes per area. Your focus out there where you're at in South Carolina is going to be completely different than the focus out here on the mountains. People out here own acres and acres of lands on mountains, and they use that to plant vegetables and plant flowers and things like that to grow. And then when the government steps in and they're like, hey, no more planting or selling, personal vegetables and stuff like that, you're like, but wait, that's literally how I've lived my life.
Entire life, yeah.
And
I think,
there's
too much control. Like, why you want to have? It's like they want to treat us like we're toddlers or something.
Well, the problem is we as the American people allow it. We put up with it. Because if you look at some other countries, if you look at like the overtake of different countries, those people quit putting up with it. And think about it. How many people are in Congress? You know what? Alexa, how many people are in Congress?
The United States Congress has 535 voting members, which includes 435 representatives and 100 senators. In addition, the House of Representatives...
Alexa, stop. So there's 535 congressmen. How many people... Alexa, how many people live in America?
In 2023, the population of the United States is 340 million people.
Alexa, stop. 340 million people live in America. 535 congressmen. I think we can take them, y'all.
We can run up in that bitch.
I mean, that's only like a finger a person, and we could take them. I mean, and I'm just kidding. We're not coming after the congressman. Please don't. There we go with that explicit content stuff again. Yeah, but the reality is if we as Americans put our foot down and said, this is what we need, this is what we want, and this is how we're going to get out of debt with other countries and start living sustainably. Sorry, it looks like Noah just came into chat. She said, you better stop, Amanda, before the CIA comes to repossess you.
Right.
So
we need to be on air next week.
Right. Yeah. I mean, they can take me. I got to go live from there on Saturday if that's the case. And I hope they're going to pay my bills because I got to go to work. But that's the biggest thing is, we as the American people have more power than we're actually acknowledging. But we just sit around and we let these things happen. And then we're like, well, I didn't vote for that. Well, no, you probably didn't vote. And if you did vote, if you had the opportunity to vote and you chose not to, that's on you. Because there are so many people out here that are not voting each year that can, and so many people out here that want to that can't. I've wanted to vote for the last 20 years. Every single time I wanted to vote. However, I was unable to. So that's my excitement for next year.
Yeah, but I think I kind of agree with you that we can definitely take them, and then they have to really man up to the whole scenario that they have out there, that the American people drives the government, like drives their decisions. Okay, if we really drive their decisions, then what we need to put our foot down and be like, okay, if we stop doing this, this is what we want, this is what y'all need to do, and make them do it.
The problem, and this is just the reality of it, and I'm not trying to be mean, is the people that have a lot of money, not working class America, not middle class America, because we're all out here struggling. Middle class America, you, me, similar people like that, we're out here working our 9 to 5, doing our side hustles, doing whatever it takes to make ends meet in our home, and then paying taxes into the government at the end of the year, which is absolute crock.
Yeah.
I'm just going to leave it at that. Because it is so hard for me to pay taxes out of each of my checks and fight to get to the salary that I'm at to then turn around and have to pay in taxes at the end of the year. And people will be like, oh, that's because you did this wrong or did that wrong. I didn't do it wrong. I've been doing it the same way my entire life. Because I hit a new tax bracket, I now have to pay in. And there's not a thing that I can do about it. It's not a choice. It's not oh, well. But the problem is the rich people. Because they're controlling everything. Because they're the ones going, you know what? No, I agree. We should go to war for this. Listen, no offense. They can draft whoever they want. They can say whatever they want. If they pull my name or my birthday or my plus one's name or birthday out of a hat, we ain't going. You gonna lock me up? Because there's nowhere that it says. I mean, so from what I read, the most that they could do is extradite you. And then if you still refuse to go, they can, what is it called when they kick you off the island? Sorry, y'all. Listen, COVID is giving me brain fog. I was gonna say evict you, but I'm sure the word's not evict. That's just my property management brain kicking in.
You're gonna evict
but you know, they can evict you from the United States. Right.
But can
and that's
really
the biggest thing.
Citizen? Like, where are they gonna send you if you were born a U.S. citizen? And
I think that they would give you the option to leave or the option to go to jail. Like, I don't know. I mean, how did it used to work? Because didn't they recruit people and do all of that with one of the passwords? Exile. Thank you, Inoa. So exile you from the United States. You know, I'm not sure exactly how it works. But I feel like if you do not do what they want you to do when they want you to do it, then that's the best option they have. And that's what they're going to do. You know, so it puts all of us in a situation where it's like, okay, either we listen to the government or they can get rid of us. And they literally can get rid of us. Look at all the people they have killed off. You know, and that's honestly probably the CIA's job. You know, you asked me what the CIA does. I think they're hitmen. I don't think they repossess people's houses.
Yeah, I think that what they do in the movies is what they do in real life.
Agreed. Yeah. I mean, they're like black ops or something like that. And, you know, that's great. Just so you know, CIA, I'm available. I'm really good at finding people. You could ask Sheena. She said one thing earlier. I called her and was like, hey, I got details.
Yeah. Like, dang, that was quick.
But that's, I mean, that's kind of just who I am. I can find out anything about anybody on the internet, but I think it's just I'm a girl. It's like something weird that comes with girl brains. And if I can't find it, then I just call my best friend and she'll jump on there and find it immediately.
I might not be as quick as you, but I'm good at researching. I'm research it. Let me find out.
So American government. CIA, we know what they do. Well, kind of. FBI. So FBI handles cold cases across state lines, things like that. How much do you think the FBI is involved with the lies that are told to us through the media?
I think they got a hand in it because they need, help in different locations to kind of pull out the wool over our eyes. But I think they got a certain amount of control, maybe 50-50 control.
So you're saying that you think that the FBI knows the information and only provides part of it to us? Like they know the whole story, but they're like, here's this.
I don't think like everybody in the FBI, certain key high individuals might have like, top secret information. I think there's only a certain amount of individuals in the whole United States across all the government agencies that actually knows the truth. I mean, each agency probably doesn't know the full truth, and probably nobody knows the full truth. I probably think that maybe a handful, probably no more than 5 to 10 people probably know the actual truth, and maybe they don't even know the full 100% truth.
Do you think they tell the president the truth?
not all the truth. No.
I don't think they do either. I think, and this is my opinion, people say a lot, but, bills and stuff and laws aren't passed without Congress. It's not the president that makes that final decision. I think the
Right.
president is just a face. It's like a brand. Like
I
the
was
Yin
just
Yang the
about to say
podcast,
that.
we branded it with our faces, with us. We're just the face of Yin Yang the podcast. We're just the opinion. We're not the podcast itself. I think the president is the face of our country, which, by the way, guys, I understand that everyone wants Trump to come back into office, but we really got to pay attention to the face that we're presenting to the rest of the world. Do we really want to go through another 4 years of an orange face being arrogant and trying to fight with China? Like, I feel like this could go really wrong. But anyways, that's just my
I see
personal
that.
opinion.
I kind of think the president is just like a seat filler. Like he doesn't have, he's like a puppet on a string. He doesn't have much say. He just go out there and say his speeches on what he's supposed to say because he's a puppet on a string. Because he needs to be that seat filler. He needs to be, like you said, the face of America. But he's not calling the shot.
See, and I don't even think he knows everything. I think that it's like top security clearance people that know things and they keep their mouth shut. And that's cool, if you don't want to tell us everything.
The whole government is on a need to know basis. We're going to tell you when we think you need to know.
And I know it just made a really good point in the chat box, guys. She said, and when he doesn't want to be in it, he gets assassinated. Like JFK. JFK, there are so many things saying that he was about to pull the plug on stuff and tell us more than he was supposed to. And there was a lot of controversy, around his assassination. If anyone remembers, Abraham Lincoln was the same way. Abraham Lincoln was starting to say, hey, I don't like this. Hey, this is going on. We need to address this. And then all of a sudden he was murdered.
Yeah, he didn't fall in line.
So
you think about
who's really running the country then?
Yeah.
Is it some guy named Bob who's sitting in his, basement making decisions for everybody? Like, who is really running the country? Because
Illuminati, like everybody say, that controls everything. Or be like in John Wick, the high table. Like, who is it?
What did you just say about the high table?
Remember the movie, the John Wick? You know how they had the high table? The group of people who call all the shots.
I forgot what
I don't think we actually know. We'll ever find out who calls all the shots and what's the really setup. Only like when you get into that field or that area of their job, if you ever got into like politics and got a seat on Congress, they'll let you know what you need to know. And I think like some people who want to be presidents, who think they can get into the office to make a difference. And I think that's what the old, back like you said, Abraham Lincoln and them, like, they get into that office and they get into that seat and they say, oh, this is not what we thought it was going to be. We need to change it. They think they can, or they had the power to change it because I am president. I have the power to change it. This is what I'm going to do because you made me president. And next thing you know, boom, assassinated. Like, they let you know that you don't have the power to change nothing. You're going to do what we say we're going to do, or we're going to assassinate you.
Well, and I'm trying to remember the name of. There was a lady that I was researching a long time ago, and they said that this lady, a billionaire, is secretly running everything. And it was a big conspiracy theory. However, when you look her up, her finger is in everything. And so, but it's made me go, well, dang, how come nobody knows about this person? How come she doesn't exist? And then I know that there's a book out. The book is called What Every American Should Know About Who's Really Running the World. And I know that book talks about it some.
Chrissy didn't want to be in the podcast. I'm sorry.
Hello, Christy.
In the podcast. It's okay, Mama.
Well, this is Christy. She just wants to make her debut. You know, she found out we were on TikTok. She wanted to say hello.
Right.
Luckily Katie's not doing that because Katie's a little bit bigger. So
Right.
but so with that being said, do you think the Illuminati is running, Sheena? Do you think they're running everything?
I do. Yeah, if they exist. I think, like, maybe somebody spilled the beans. That's how we know, like, of the Illuminati. But yeah, I think there's a group of people like the Illuminati that's running everything and calling all the shots, and there's like a secret society.
Do you think Beyonce and Jay-Z are in the Illuminati?
I think there's something fishy going on with them too, but I don't know. Maybe they're pawns in the Illuminati. Maybe they got, picked out. I don't know. I think there is a possibility they could be. I can't say for sure they is. I think there's some.
I'm just saying, if the
conspiracy.
Illuminati's out there, y'all should call me. I know too much. Y'all need to call me. I mean, not too much. Like, I don't know your secrets. I want to know your secrets, though. I want to help you with secrets. I want to be in the Illuminati. I don't really know what they do, but hello.
I think like people like say like they're devil worshippers and stuff like that, just like as a cover up. But I think it's like the Illuminati or a secret society, just like the government. Like they're controlled. It's like a secret society that wants to control everything or keep the control or keep a balance, I should say. And it's like a society that wants to keep balance. People put a play on it, think there's, they sold themselves to the devil worshiper, and stuff like that, just because, they're trying to throw us off a little bit. But it's just basically a group of people who's trying to control the world and keep a balance according to their wishes or their plan or the way how they want to see or do things. And they have the power to exile anybody who tries to go off without.
So I'm going to say this. I'm going to play devil's advocate.
Go ahead. I know you are.
As much as I want the Illuminati to be real because I want to be a part of them, I don't think they exist. Because we have some really intelligent people across the world. You know what I mean? However, the majority of humans, no offense humans, are stupid. So how would they narrow out the people that would not be a liability to them? Do they just kill them off? I feel like it's too secret of a society for there to be so many quote unquote members around the world that no one knows about to have not ever come out with actual proof. So if the Illuminati is out there and real, prove me wrong. Oh, sorry, Christy scared me, y'all. So, prove me wrong. Let me know. Reach out. I'm not going to say nothing. But I don't believe you exist. So Illuminati, if you watch this, I don't believe you exist because there's no way that you've gone this long without any actual proof that you exist. There's a lot of little secret societies amongst us. I know secret clubs. Like I know that there's a couple of different clubs that solve murder mysteries together. There's people that solve old cases together as clubs, things like that. And they're secret societies and they keep themselves and things like that. However, the Illuminati is supposedly a worldwide organization. And you have all of these members that are very high in the financial gain world. So all these rich people are part of the Illuminati. No, they're not. They're just part of a different tax bracket. Why don't you just say that? Like, hey, no, the Illuminati's not running the world. The rich people are. We already know that. I still don't understand why the rich don't pay taxes, but I have to give you 30% of my paychecks.
Money. Like the rich want to keep being rich. The rich said, let the working class people pay all the taxes and let me keep all the money, and then I'll give you some of my money to make laws and control the world.
Right. And that's absolutely great if all of us were rich.
We're not.
Because, and then you look at a lot of these rich people and they'll be like, oh, this is what they've done for the country or the society. And what have they done? Last time I checked, if y'all remember during the whole Maui thing, the rich people were getting on asking all of us to send money. Meanwhile, we're barely able to afford groceries. Oprah and The Rock got up there and was like, please send money to donate. And I was like, what? Like, I have to buy groceries this week. I need gas money for my car.
Won't you donate? Because you would not
Right.
spend...
what I make in a year, y'all make for one episode.
Right. And you will not spend all of that in a lifetime. Like, literally, you don't need all of that to live on, so you donate. And I really think, the whole thing needs to be, the government needs to do better with their whole, the way that they treat Americans and the way that they do stuff. Like, there should be a ground level, a level that they don't go under or cross, because, like, there shouldn't be people hungry. There shouldn't be people homeless. Like, we shouldn't have to struggle like we do, like, for real.
Right. It makes absolutely no sense. So I don't think the Illuminati exists. That's just my personal opinion. I believe the CIA exists. I believe the FBI exists.
Oh yeah, I think the FBI and CIA definitely real. I think they're all, like you said, hitmen, assassins. They go around and hush people that need to be hushed or fix things that that need to be fixed.
And they repossess houses.
Yeah, they repossess houses. The FBI, I think, their agency to put on the front, like, what did the FBI do? Like, other than find missing people? I don't know.
They handle crimes across state lines. I do know that, like, if you live in, like, a small town, because I used to own a newspaper in Allendale, South Carolina, which is a very small town. Unless you know somebody in Allendale, you have no reason to go there. And I was not liked there at all.
Yeah,
I was one of, like 10 white people there. And when I moved there with the intentions on starting a newspaper. They absolutely hated me. So when I moved to that town and started this newspaper, one of the big things I found out is they didn't get a lot of state help. So if they had, and this is a very high crime area. So moving out there with the intentions on starting the paper was a little scary. But I wanted to do something good for the community, because it was a community that was kind of abandoned. And when I moved out there, they were having a lot of problems getting the state to come out and help them or assist with the solving of murders. And I know that the FBI steps in at those points when the state can't, to help with those kinds of situations. So I do know that the FBI does step in when the state can't, or the state says they have too much on their plate. The FBI can step in and help with those kinds of cases. Allendale, South Carolina is known for, like, how many gangs it has and how many people are gang related and affiliated. So a lot of those people, that's when the FBI steps in, is in situations like that. So I know they deal with a lot of ongoing cases, or especially anything that crosses state lines, or a situation where the state authorities can't step in. So, and I know that the FBI also has, like, special task force teams, because remember Ashton Kutcher was doing the sex trafficking, helping to find children that had been, sex trafficked and things like that, and saving all these women and these children. And I know the FBI helped him with some of that. So I know that they have different task force for different things, which is why I really like the FBI. Call me, guys. I know my ex-husband thinks I'm a secret FBI agent, but I'm not, and I really would like to be, guys, so call me. Listen, that's my dream job. If I could be anything in the world, I would work for the FBI. Only because I feel like I can make a difference. In a world where we always feel like we can't make a difference. Because, as we're talking about the American government, how much do you even trust the government in the town you live in?
Right.
What has the town that you live in done for y'all lately?
Do you trust the government in the towns? Do you trust the police as part of the government? Do you think the local police is in cahoots with the government?
So I think all the police forces are separate. I think that just depends on the area you live. Like my local police department, I think is really good. Here where I'm at in Georgia, I think now, mind you, we only have like a few. But to me, they're really, really good. However, in Charleston, South Carolina, I know a lot of them are racist, and they're like, "Oh, no, they're not. No, they're not." I specifically know someone that used to be a police officer there who left because they were racist.
Yeah, there's a lot of that going on.
And so I
in
think that
South Carolina.
depends. But like, think about it logically. I mean, does your local government fight to get tourism more in your area? Like, the only thing that our local government has really done for us lately, and it's a very hard topic because the area that I live in, guys, I want you to remember, I live kind of, sorry, I got a cough. I live out on mountains, and so a lot of this is a lot of land. It's a lot of duck off little cabins and things like that. But that means there's no housing. So the apartment complex that I run and the little area around me, like the few houses that people aren't using because they're just summer homes or something, that's all that you have to rent. So there is a very large amount of homeless people in and around the county that I live in. So they recently did pass a law, not a law, but a bill allowing them to build 200 tiny homes. And so they're going to build a tiny home community, which sounds like a great thing because that means we'll get to house all those people, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that means we then have to house all those people, which means 200 more families are moving on to this tiny mountain that we live on, which is going to change the traffic and the community and the outreach. And, there's a lot of people that are not okay with this. And what do you do? Of course, I don't want the whole world to be homeless at all. I would love everybody to have a little house, but the flip side is who's going to control your child when you're at work? If your child's down here and they mess up my property, who's responsible for it? You can't control how other people raise their families and things that they do. So it's a toss up. You either are going to do great, you're not going to do great, you're going to be with it, you're going to be for it. But they have created our town into a tourist town because of leaf season, and the leaf changing of the colors and all that. And it's beautiful. It is beautiful. And I would love for people to experience it. But year-round sustainability is not a thing out here unless you're like me, and it's a really hard thing. Now, the local government, of course, is trying to step up and do something about our housing situation. They have built other little places and stuff like that, but the cost of living out here is so high that the locals can't afford to live here. So you're making $13 an hour. Right. Yeah, you make $13 an hour. You got 4 kids and you go to apply for an apartment and it's $1,600. Well, who can pay for that on $14 an hour? But that's the American government for you.
Got a minimum wage. Most places still $7.25. Who's living off of that? They struggling so bad. And if they got kids, it's just they kids eating and they go hungry. Like, come on.
See, and that's crazy, but then you're expected to go back to work the next day hungry, crying because you can't pay your light bill, reaching out to all these different industries to help.
They lay in bed at night, cry themselves to sleep, but they thank God that they made it through another day and pray for strength to get through another day.
So we're going to go ahead and wrap up tonight. However, I wanted to let everybody know, and a little heads up for November. starting in November. That is me and Sheena's both of our birthday month. Woo, woo.
Birthday.
So during that month, what we're going to do is anybody that buys us a virtual coffee or sends us a gift during our TikTok lives is going to go into a raffle drawing for this beautiful watch. Let me see if y'all can see it. There you go, TikTok. There you go. It is a beautiful watch. Why'd you say uh-oh?
Oh, because when I looked towards the TikTok, I didn't see, it was too low. I don't think TikTok seen it.
Oh, I put it all the way into the camera.
Oh, okay. Maybe I just
before I did the Riverside, yeah.
Gotcha.
So that is the beautiful watch that we got for someone to win. And all you have to do is send us a virtual coffee or send us a gift on TikTok. Again, whoever, every time that you send us a gift, that will go into the hat. At the end of November, we will draw that. I will make sure that you receive it before December 15th. That way, in case you wanted to give it to somebody for a Christmas gift, you have it available. Again, it's a very nice watch. I will post pictures of it on the page. Remember also to follow us on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. We're everywhere. Find us. Follow us. And then if you need anything from us, please feel free to reach out. We will try to continue to go live on TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Riverside every Saturday. Thank you very much, guys. And remember, Yin Yang the podcast. It's me and Sheena, two people, two opinions.
Real talk.
Real talk. Thanks, y'all.